Well, they were playing Atlanta last night. A couple of sidebars going in was Brett Lawrie made an apology behind the scenes to his team and to his manager. That was a big story here. Colby
Should have been
Rasmus
sent to the minors. I absolutely believe that. Don't you?
No.
No, I think
Oh,
this kid.
why?
Because he hasn't learned. He keeps doing this stuff. Why did Milwaukee give up on him? It's something that the kid's got to grow up. Got to go.
You know, this is going to turn out, if we're not careful here, this is going to be one of these situations where we start rumbling and grumbling away to each other behind the scenes. John Gibbons and the team have said this is not a problem.
He made a huge mistake last night dressing that kid. He should not have played him.
It's over and done with.
No, it's not.
He lost his temper a little bit, and you can't do that now. It's not on camera. But the manager has said this is over and done. And she said it right after the game. He said he got a little hot. I got a little hot. Hey, he cares. He's passionate. He's 23 years old. You see, we're going to turn Brett Lawrie, who's a brilliant player and a spark plug for this team.
Whoa! He's batting $1.99.
He's having a bad
What's
year.
he ever done?
He's
useless.
He missed spring training.
He is acting like he's a 15-year Major League All-Star, and he hasn't done anything.
You're
wrong,
his
Brian.
behavior is not bad.
He is nothing. He is nothing.
Oh, you are. Listen, when I sat and listened. Alan Ashby all last year and the year before talked about in all of his years of covering the Blue Jays how this was one of the most special players he's ever seen come into this team. You would think he would have some idea what he was talking about, wouldn't you?
Let's have a look at his.
His average is nuts. He's hitting $1.99.
Yeah, I know that exactly.
He missed spring training.
Frankly,
you could see this coming.
No, I'm sorry. This guy has. He thinks he's like he's one of the cocks of the walk, and he isn't. He should be like every other rookie or every other young guy in his position. Shut up, sit down, and do
grow
your
up.
job.
I don't disagree with any of that.
That's his problem.
But he's good enough to be.
You can react like that. You can act like that when you're batting .350 and driving in all the runs. He's doing none of that.
His abilities got him into the major leagues, and quite rightly so. You can't say he doesn't have the ability to do it.
His head will get him out of the major leagues real soon.
Well, that's part of the problem. You've got to put up with guys. Cristiano Ronaldo went through this for years with Sir Alex Ferguson. He had a manager that could talk to him and keep him in line. He kept on screwing up out in the field, because he was a 22, 23-year-old kid. It happens all over the world.
No,
this guy will grow up to be a fine ball player. And there's a few little examples of him being hot-headed, and you want to throw him down to the minors?
Yep.
You're just saying that.
No, I'm not.
Oh, come on.
He has to learn a lesson, Brian. He keeps doing this.
Well, he's going to do it occasionally. You're going to have to put up with it.
No, you don't.
He'll learn.
You put up with it if he's batting .320. If he's batting .199, you go, hey,
and
son,
all
come
of
here.
that's part of it. He's obviously
Sit your ass
frustrated.
down and learn how to play the game before you start telling other people how to play.
He wants to win so badly for his team. He's not some spoiled brat just sitting there on the bench collecting his paycheck.
That's exactly what he is. That's exactly what he is.
He's a fiery competitor, and yes, he goes over the top. And
Tell me exactly how
a
fiery competitor relates to baseball. What does that mean?
I'm just saying he's the type of guy that's got fire in his belly. He cares. He's out there giving it 100 and whatever all the time.
So you're implying
all the
that everybody
cliches.
else isn't? Bullshit.
Just guys are put together differently. That's the way he's put together.
Yeah, well,
other guys are more laid back. See Colby Rasmus.
All I'm saying is,
I'm here. I don't mind. I hit the ball. I play great center field, but this is where I come from. Wow. Brett Laurie's right here. He's with you. Hey, man, come on. Yeah, it's great.
Brett, try Buffalo.
But to send him down to the minors.
Go down to Buffalo.
Learn
your lesson.
At a crucial point in the game, he came up. He said the wrong thing. He knew he did, and he quite rightly went and apologized.
That's why he gets away with it, because of apologists like you.
Guys, I'm sorry.
I'll put up with that because he's a Canadian too. Golly,
I don't care where he's from.
He's from Canada,
which means nothing.
That didn't even come into anything I just said.
Well,
but to say he should be sent down the minors is one of the most asinine things you said this morning.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's what I believe should have happened.
Do you take?
I think you have to. I'm not saying he has to stay down there forever. I'm saying you teach him a lesson. You go, Brett, this is unacceptable. He's lucky that it was Adam Lindy did it to, because if it had been somebody else, they might have popped him one, and they should have. And some do that. It's a team game. It's not.
Richard
Griffin said, in 40 years being around baseball, it's the worst example of me first he's ever seen. How do you explain that?
I don't think it's the worst he's ever seen.
Well, that's what he said.
I don't know if he said that, but he did say that there are times where Brett Lawrie goes above and beyond to showboat for balls that he should just learn to let drop because he's never going to be able to throw the guy out or whatever it was. But he did say that he goes into camera bays when he doesn't have to because he's not going to get the ball, but because he's in front of the crowd. I don't disagree with any of that.
That's not
he goes
at
a million
all what
miles
we're
an
talking about.
hour.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an example of where a guy actually, in plain view of everyone and the television cameras, sold out his own teammate and his coaching staff. And you do not do that. You just don't do it. And I'm sorry, but you have to believe. I've heard reports. The guy's hated in the clubhouse. I've heard reports that people look at him and go, what kind of a jerk is this? They got to get a hold of that.
This is what we got to be careful of because this is what's happening. That kind of thing that you just said. We've done it. We do it all the time. Maybe other cities do wherever you're watching from. Maybe other cities do as well. I can only speak from here. And I'm thinking right now as I'm talking of guys who've been. They've come to this city and they've had wonderful. Roberto Alomar. He was God in this town. Kelly Gruber, he was God in this town until somebody found out that he was doing water skiing when he said he was off sick, and suddenly his rumblings and grumblings went, and he puts himself before his team, and everything he's done going to.
What does that have to do with this?
I'm just telling you that we're heading the same way. This Brett Lawrie came up here, a wonderful ball player. We're so lucky to get him. We've got guys who comment on the team talking about what a special
that's
talent
not
he
true.
is.
That's not true.
Now all of a
That's
sudden,
not what happened. He didn't come
a-
up here as a wonderful player. He came up here and people going, well, hold it.
He was a number one draft pick for the Milwaukee
Why
Brewers.
would Milwaukee give up a top 10 prospect, top 20 prospect in baseball for a middle of the rotation starter like Sean Markham? Why would they do that?
There were some questions about
they
his
didn't like his
attitude.
character and his attitude. That's what the problem is now. He hasn't fixed it. I mean, look, I don't even know how you can argue this. The guy's been doing this his whole career, and you're saying it's okay.
All of that was put to bed in what an exemplary person he was when he came up here to play. We never knew where he got. There was reams written about how that was all overblown in Milwaukee, who badly needed some pitching, which they got. They got the ace of our staff at the time in return for this guy because they had enough infielders down there. He came up here, and he has been. Listen,
Sean
everyone
Markham
who
was the
covered
ace of nobody's staff.
He was at the time.
No,
everybody who sees him coming to the Blue Jays, who comments on a day-to-day basis, talk about what a special ball player he has, and in particular, I reiterate Alan Ashby saying he could be one of the great Blue Jays of all time, is what Alan Ashby was talking about.
If he said that, he was on something, because I've never heard him say that. Never heard anybody say that.
And all this talk about guys hate him in the clubhouse.
You haven't heard that.
I know.
Well, I have. I've heard it from more than one.
There's a group of them that hang together and do all the publicity things that they're asked to do. Him and JP are obviously very tight, and another group of guys down there, the young guns on the staff. Yeah, I mean, there's a young core of guys that's going to carry this team for years. Who hates them? I haven't heard anyone saying I can't stand him. I've heard guys raise their eyebrows and say, hey, kid, you just got to step back a little bit. I don't doubt that. That's what veterans are supposed to do, and he needs that saying to him. But this is a guy that would run through a brick wall for his teammates.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'd like to see him do that for his teammates in Buffalo.
That was a nice little 15 minutes or so, you idiot.
Well, there you go.
Send him down to Buffalo.
I'm quite serious.
Take your belt off and you'd be giving him the strap in a second.
Brian, the point with this is he's got to learn. You just admitted it. The whole problem with this guy.
You don't have to send him down to Buffalo to teach him. You sit down and you talk to him, just like Sir Alec Ferguson did with Ronaldo, like Cito Gaston did with young ball players who, that's what you're there for as a manager.
Cito would sit them. He wouldn't play them. That's the difference.
If he had have sat Brett Lawrie last night, it would have been another firestorm.
No, it wouldn't.
They would have to sit down and answer all the questions afterwards. What'd you sit him for? You're teaching him a lesson. And Gibby would have had to answer all of those questions. As it turns out, he's injured. God knows how he'll be out now, and this will all become a moot point.
Wouldn't have been injured if he'd been sitting.